Well, hello. Oh, I've got that glare in my glasses again. Okay, that's not going to work. See, I don't want you guys to think by any stretch of the imagination that I'm a professional, because that's clearly not the case. I did actually see all this, what you see on screen, before I started the live, and it's still all to cook. Oh, that's better. That's better. So who's about today? You guys will probably know that when I do lives, they're all sort of like last minute and like guerrilla lives. So generally speaking, for the first few minutes, I'm talking to myself, as is the case now. Got a couple of early people in already. Tap Peddler, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Electro, Damien, good morning, good morning. Who else we got? Sales Any Unexpected? Good afternoon, sir. Certainly honoured company already. Yeah, I've not planned this. I'm not planned doing a live. I just, well, in fact, that's kind of my shtick. I just don't. I just pop up and do on as and when and see who's about. But some really good collaborations have come because of it. So I was on Chris Cooking Hayden's live stream yesterday, doing the listing live and testing out a new mic, which I've got here. It's a very nice posh one. It's not going to focus. Yep. So if anybody wants my old one, by the way, just let me know. Much cheapness. This is the downside to wearing specs. So if I put the light somewhere where actually it's doing its job, you can see the light in my specs. No, it's not going to work. Derek, sorry, Derek. This is like a really common thing with me. I'm absolutely atrocious with names. It really has to be under my nose. Faces, absolutely spot on, but names, no. So of course it's Derek. 80s horror fan. Hello, Uncle Albert. Good day, sir. How are you? Wet Beaver Tactical, awesome name. Awesome profile picture as well. Divine Mrs. Jones. Hello. Damien, how was the maiden bike ride? It was friggin' terrifying. Absolutely terrible. On my part, obviously, it's the first time that it was out under supervision, and my lad doesn't live with me. He lives with his mom, so he was picking his bike up from my house because it's stored in my garage to take it home because he's going to be using it to go to college and whatnot. So I waited. It took us ages. He's got a problem with the battery at the minute. It needs new battery, so consequently we have to bump it. Yeah, so I watched him set off. It's pulling out of the junction from the back of the houses by me. It's a bit of a nightmare. It's a bit of a busy road, particularly at the time he was setting off, sort of like rush hour kind of time. So it was a nightmare getting out that junction. So I was determined to watch him pull out the junction, which I was absolutely bricking it about. And of course, by the time I got to the car to follow him, he'd already buggered off to his mom's. He got there all right in one piece. So, but yeah, he's very green around the gills, definitely. So you can just imagine as well. It's inevitable. Everybody falls off the bike and grazes a leg. It's like learning to ride a push bike when you're a kid. You fall off and you graze your knee. It does happen on motorbikes as well. It's almost an inevitability. You just got to hope the damage to himself isn't too bad. But can you imagine the earache I'm going to get off his mom if anything happens at all? Yeah, so that's that. Anyway, I'm going out on a proper ride out with him at the weekend. Heading over to Southport probably, so I'll be able to report back more then, hopefully. Sam's Adventures, how the devil are you? The Dave, g'day sir, how's your day going? Yeah, so I haven't really got much to speak about today. Last couple of weeks, I've absolutely nailed it around the charity shops. It's certainly been carrying me through the winter. This winter as well is the first winter that I haven't had to take part-time work. I mean, to be fair, I've got a well, I haven't taken part-time work on purpose because I haven't really needed to. I didn't want to be honest. But up and on previous winters, obviously it's really quiet, and my business wasn't to the stage where I had enough of a ball rolling to sort of like, I don't want to say coast me through the quiet months, but sort of like bridge that gap between boot sale seasons, which obviously we all know that's my um, happy time as far as sourcing stock goes. One of those days, is it? Sorry, mate. Hope it gets better. So what are we all up to today? Are we on with massive amounts of listing and just smashing it generally? Uncle Albert, during Christmas off season, going to try and change my appearance to be more in line with that bobblehead. Thanks again, Dave. You're more than welcome. I honestly, I can just imagine when it turned up. I could not, when I saw that in the shop, I just couldn't leave it on the shelf. It had to be sent to you. It had to be sent to you. My partner came off his bandit 10 years ago. He broke quite a few bones. Luckily, it had all the gear on, so not as bad as it could have been. Absolutely, yeah. I had quite a bad accident in 2008. I've got a steel plate in my shoulder. It looks like screws going through it. The x-ray looked gnarly as hell. And so I had a few other bits and pieces wrong with me. That was a pretty bad one. But you tend to find it, you either, if people have a sort of like a relatively serious accident, then it sends them one or two ways. It makes them either more determined to stay on the bike and not let that kind of experience stop you doing something you love, or it just puts you off for life. In my case, it just made me more adamant. I've just come to the conclusion that anything can take you out at any point, and then just why spend your life worrying about that shit? Just crack on with it. Do what you love. So where are we coming from? 18 in the chat. Yeah, so the when I say I've been smashing it at the charity shops over the last couple of weeks, it's been mainly clothing. In fact, it's been almost exclusively clothing mixed in there with some shoes and that. I've tried my best to go for as higher end brands as I can with greater margin for obvious reasons, but obviously beggars can't be choosers. So it'd be interesting to hear actually how you guys are finding it. Well, obviously you're sourcing generally, but have you got that sliding scale of, I suppose, fussiness and what you're picking up? Sam's Adventures. Hello. Apologies if I'm repeating myself, saying hello to people. Hi Dave. Charity shops clothing pretty good at the minute. Whereabouts? Which area are you from, Paul? I'm not saying it's area dependent, but the places that I've been hitting for sourcing, I mean, they've been relatively affluent areas, and you tend to find it can go one or two ways. You can either get sort of like reasonable prices from certainly from some of the more local charities and the smaller shops kind of thing, that the little old, the ones, you know, the ones I mean, that are less corporate and the more run by little old ladies kind of thing, or really, really expensive. Hi Dave, seen some mixed reviews on this subject between resellers. Is it wrong to ask staff in charity shops if they're willing to accept low price on items? It's a really good point, that. I mean, personally speaking, I don't. But if it's overpriced, they just won't buy it. The only exception to that rule is, and it is a very, very rare exception, if I'm buying in bulk and it's unpriced items, say, I know they've just got a job lot in and you sort of like, and they're allowing you to have a look through it kind of thing, I might, obviously I've got a figure in my head of what I need to achieve. I might, if they say, I don't know, £100 for example, I might say, well, actually, this is what I can pay really. It's not so I'm not haggling with them per se, and but it's just I'm just being honest with them. I need to, because I run a business and they're well aware of that. I need to achieve a certain amount for it to really be worthwhile doing in the first place. And if you can't come to that compromise, then obviously you don't buy the stuff. It's no harm, no foul. But on the flip side of that, on the charity shop run I did, what day are we on? Yesterday, I actually paid up in both shops. I paid over what they asked for. The reason I do that is basically so they remember your face. If and the more inclined, the places that I go into regularly that know that they'll take a lot of money off me, they're giving me sort of realistic prices. And in almost all cases, when they give me a price, I'll round it up to the next not just the next pound. I'm not that much of a stingy bugger. I'll round it up by 15, 20 quid, say. I mean, not significantly over, but if I know I'm going to make a shit ton on what I'm picking up for them, then that little extra effort just makes you a bit more, I suppose, attractive to them, really, for next time. And it keeps that relationship sweet. So no, but each their own. I mean, I don't know. Personally, it's something that your own conscience has to decide, really. Personally speaking, I just pay what they're asking, or if they're charging too much, don't buy it in the first place. So I wouldn't haggle in the charity shop. Boot sales, however, I mean, I've been called out for this on a number of occasions. If somebody asks for 20 pence for an item, I'll offer them 10. I am absolutely bloody ruthless at boot sales. And it's not because I'm in one of those moods today. I'm having to check my language. It's not because I'm a dick. It's basically because that's the sport. People who buy and sell at boot sales expect the barter. That was a long-winded answer, wasn't it? Sorry, mate. Hi, Dad. Hi, Dad. Hi, Dave. Am I Dad XRCT RLC? I'm XRLC. Driving home on his bike, big tip truck with a safety net. Brick fell off and took his knee. Damn, that's got a smart. Drove to hospital with his kneecap in his pocket. Nice. I'm just having my lunch, mate. Thanks for that. That sounds very, very sore. I originally did my bike training with the army in '88, and I came off my bike then, and similar, I damaged my knee, so that put me off. So I was still riding 125s, but I didn't actually do my big bike test till 2001. So not that I was riding illegally, honest officer. Got several leather coats for £2.50 a piece in the last week. Nice. Are they just sort of like casual jackets, or are they bike jackets? What are they, Paul? I've been over to Strawberry Field boot sale last year, and there's a stall on there that sells motorbike jackets, like vintage ones. Usually paying about £20 each for them, but it's 100% margin on them. I do like a good vintage. If it is motorbike, I'm going on a sort of like motorcycle clothing tip here, but if you are picking up motorbike jackets, particularly vintage ones, a great keyword is cafe racer. So you know the old sort of like big collar, stereotypical bike jackets. If you use the keyword cafe racer, honestly, it generates a lot more traffic. How did you get on with the wholesale stuff? Would you buy again? I would, but only if I was desperate for stock. I think I did what I did at the right time of year. I wouldn't do it in summer. I wouldn't do it when there's a lot of stock to be had out there because of boot sale season and whatnot, because there's no need to. The vast majority of the sellable stock in the bundles, because there was quite a few bits that weren't sellable at all, either because of value or condition. it is long tail. There was very, very few items that were juicy enough to think, hang on, there's going to be decent margin, this will be a fast flip. So all of that stuff almost exclusively is going to be long tail. It's going to take 6 months to sell through. Then there's not massive margin in it either. So yes, but I would be super picky what the bundles that I went for in the first place, and it would only be sort of like around about this time of year when stocks are a bit harder to come by. But then again, saying that, over the last couple of weeks, I've just smashed it at the charity shops, and there's no reason for me to think that that isn't because people are having a clear out over Christmas. So, and again, going back to what I was saying about working, because last like 21, 22 for it must have been about 5 months. I was working 3 days a week at my old job delivering motorbikes. So I didn't really need to do a lot of sourcing or generate a lot of reselling income. So this is a brand new experience. And when I first started being a full-time reseller, I was terrified about it, but I was surprised how much I decided to myself that I wish I'd have done it earlier. And last winter, I probably shot myself in the foot by going back and getting this safe income by working part-time for some bugger else. I'm not fussy on what I pick up. Profit margins are getting more and more squeezed, so I can't turn profit down any profit. Yeah, absolutely. I find with that, I have a sliding scale of that as far as my fussiness. Depends on how easy it is to source stock. Through my own personal experience, though, I'm finding if you're selling a lot more items for a lot less margin, it's your time that's getting eaten then. But again, it depends on the time of year. The hardest stock is to source with adequate margin, then you're going to be less fussy and the same. Friday the 13th. Oh yeah. Nope. No, not superstitious in the slightest. I don't believe in ghosts either. Charity shops have done me okay this past couple of weeks. Yeah, you might find, I mean, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts as well, Damien. Do you reckon it's because people are having a clear out because of time off over Christmas? It might be people donating things because they've been replaced by gifts. Or maybe I'm just being overly optimistic. Paul's near South Shields. I'll be heading up your way, Paul, this boot sale season. I've got it in my mind. I think I mentioned it on the last live that I did. I've got it in my mind this year to use reselling as a way, aside from obviously paying my bills and all that kind of stuff, but paying for excursions. Now, I am no tax expert, and don't quote me on this, but if I'm going up to North Shields and booking into a B&B, for example, I'm thinking in my mind that the cost of the B&B is going to be a justifiable business expense because I'm going there to source. So, but don't quote me on that because I'm not a tax expert. That is in no way, shape, and form and any advice. And obviously, for my own books, I will be checking the legitimacy of that out before I put before putting the receipts through my books. Shropshire is good at the moment. Absolutely. What was the last time I went down there? That was a long time. I spent a bit of time in Shrewsbury because I was when I was in the army, I was dating a girl from Shrewsbury. That was an unusual time. It's bad luck to be superstitious. There you go, Uncle Albert. Sometimes my clicky click doesn't work. Charity shop's not been worth it for me for about 3 years. Has that stopped you going though? So that's quite interesting now, because again, it's I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your take on that. If it's not been working going, have you gone to obviously come to that conclusion? Do you not hit auctions? It's rare. It really is rare. I will do it. I've sold at auctions a few times, so like the local auction house. I do it from time to time. I find going through the catalogues quite time consuming, and also if there is anything juicy there, obviously everybody knows about it, who is looking at that particular auction, and you usually have to settle for a lot smaller margins. It's just so in my mind, an auction is just a really, really expensive boot sale. So that's, and I'm finding it hard to shake that mentality. I do mainly love watching your channel. So lots of radio show equipment recently. How to find my addiction to brasses. Wow, absolutely. Thank you very much indeed for supporting the channel. I need to go further afield at the moment. Low skill, not great. Yeah, absolutely. Mix it up. I am guilty of this as well. I can because I've got a good relationships with, I won't say enough charity shops, because I lost a huge one last week, in fact, that has always been very good to me. In fact, those of you that watch my channel regularly have seen me pick up the costume jewelry that I've done really exceptionally well out of historically. That one's fallen off because I've had a change of management, and the new manager doesn't like resellers. So yeah, that was a bit of a kick in the teeth. But I do get complacent myself. So mix it up, go further afield, make new relationships. Luckily on Friday we have a decent car boot sale in South Shields, several charity shops, decent buying opportunity. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I find that anywhere, I've not really ventured up in the northeast just yet, but particularly Yorkshire, the weekday boot sales, they're just mad for them. It's amazing. How can anybody be skint in Yorkshire at all with all that opportunity? I think the charity shops being crap slowly spread nationwide for the last 3 years. Yeah, there are still a lot of local charities. Like I say, the ones that aren't as corporate, not the big ones. I mean, round anywhere near me, in Chorley, Wigan, Bolton, Preston, any of the Barnardos are ridiculously expensive. Same as British Heart Foundation. It's all the big, sort of like corporate ones. They tend to be, but the local ones are like the local hospice shops, for example. They're still good news. They're still realistic, and I mean, my mind says that because of the amount of stock that gets donated, that's the way to do it, because they're constantly turning over stock, so constantly generating revenue rather than selling a lot less stock for greater margin, which is basically what my aim is as a reseller. But I don't get it. This is why charity shops are absolutely swamped all the time and turning away donations, because you get so much stuff in. That counters people's arguments when they say, oh, you're buying from charity shops to resell. I'm sure every single reseller in the chat has had this comment made to them at some point, but obviously they don't get it. They don't get it. When I say hit auctions, I mean go to auction houses and pick stuff. Major bargains locally here and every auction. Yeah, that's what I meant. I knew, then again, saying that, when I do source from auctions, it's usually through Easy Live, the auction website, and I'll go to my local auction house to have a look what they've got in. Maybe it's just because I'm not going further afield. I only really go to one, to be honest, because of logistics, because it's near to me. Maybe that's just I was going to say not so good, but maybe there's better auction houses than that to source from. Generally agree with you, Peter, but these are a bit of Christmas. There's a bit of a Christmas boost at the moment. It won't last long though. Yeah, hopefully it'll last long enough for boot sale season to kick off properly. Lunchtime. Yeah, lunchtime. Hi Julie, how are you? You know me, Just last minute spare of the moment, I'm live, but there's over 30 people in the chat though, so there you go. Casual jackets, absolutely perfect quality. Strawberry fields very good for buying in summer, can be huge. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's obviously a bit of a gamble for me because it's a 5-hour round trip at Strawberry Field. But I've been over a couple of times. It's been quiet because of the weather, and a couple of half decent pickups have saved my bacon and paid for my time and my diesel. But I've seen it when it's been big, and my word, what an impressive boot sale that is. For a Thursday, it's absolutely stonking. Have you or anyone else tried buying Amazon or Argos pallets, lots for resale? No, never. I sell on Amazon new items, albeit not as much after Brexit kind of thing, but I still do it. But no, I tend to find that you're sifting through a lot of shite. I'd rather cherry pick stuff. I think that's the long and short of it. I know that's counterintuitive because I have bought clothing bells from wholesalers, but not something I've considered. I'm not really turned on by the idea, to be honest. I'm interested to hear what everybody else thinks if they've had experience though. Do you ever use the auctions? I think I've covered that. Yeah, definitely do use the auctions, but very selectively. Usually I'm looking at that when I'm not panicking about not having any stock, but I'm scratching my arse a little bit for stock. Scott, hi guys, really enjoy your videos, Dave. Thank you very much indeed for your support, Scott. Much obliged, sir. British Yarmouth window cleaning. Morning, mate. You need to upload more. I need more of your content. My God, it's thank you very much indeed for supporting the channel. Yeah, one a week it can be a bit challenging doing everything as well because it's the editing really. Because you'll probably get the impression of the difference between the lives and the uploads. I edit my uploads and cut out all the pregnant pauses when I'm thinking, all the and the funny noises, the sneezing, all that kind of stuff. Editing all that crap out, it takes a while. So doing that more than once a week, yeah, it's a bit challenging. I'd really love to. I love making the videos. I love the feeling that somebody's benefiting from me being a complete knobhead and cocking up and all this kind of stuff. I love the idea that somebody's benefiting from that. Yeah, I would like to do it a lot more, but I've got to earn some green. I've got to pay the mortgage. I'm pretty new to reselling. Started off charging postage, now do free postage, but I'm wondering, what do you think is best? Great videos. It's really rare. Thank you for your support, by the way. It's really, really rare that I'll do free postage. Usually if I do, it's because I'm selling a brand new item that a lot of other people are. And obviously I make sure my price is competitive. But if you're using desktop and you're creating a listing, it actually tells you next to the price, it's either the price or the postage, it actually tells you what the median price for that item is, and it also tells you what percentage of sellers are doing free postage as opposed to charged. Sometimes in those instances, I'll let that sway me whether I do free postage or not, but I would say as a percentage, probably 98% of the time I charge for postage. And I don't see any. In fact, I trialed it for the longest time to prove it to myself, because I did do free postage in the early days, almost across the board, and I changed it, and I didn't see any difference at all. I'm still making a living out of it, so there you go. That's my take on the free versus charged postage. Have you ever had an argument at a boot sale after telling the seller you're a reseller? No, never. I think the take on that is it's everything is about the price, because once a sale is agreed, nobody gives a shit what happens to the product after that. Why would they? If somebody's selling you something for a £5 and then you go, thank you very much, there's a £5, you might as well stick it on your head and set fire to it. They're not going to give it a toss. I won't give it a toss. So no, never. I've had a couple of people say, I'll put the price up when it's become apparent or it's come up in conversation that I'm a reseller. And that even if it's in those instances, I suppose I'm a little bit stroppy or passive. I'd just say, okay, fine, I don't want it, and walk away, regardless of how much it is, or regardless of how much of a good deal it is. It's well, I'm just emphasizing that sort of like stupidity of their point. Well, again, it's being passive aggressive. Sorry, but I'm just human. Will you get a Sedgefield to up north? I'm planning to get. I'm going to be a complete car boot slut this year, Jilly. I plan to do as many as I can in as many different areas as possible. I have my favourites at the minute, like I said, Shirk and Bersker locally. So the chances are, with a few, I was going to say with a few exceptions, I'll stay locally, but no, I want to get away. I want to travel this year, and I want reselling to pay for that traveling. So that's a very short answer, probably. Never or did. Oh, sorry, I've lost the track of that conversation. Sorry, Wet. Coming to Chirk. Oh, yes, 100%. 100% coming to Chirk. I love Chirk. I absolutely love Chirk. It's brilliant. Apart from when it moves to the top field in winter. I went once and it was arse. And it would never, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Sorry. I'm potty mouth today. Yeah, it wasn't good. And it didn't really have the scope to be any better than it was when I went, because it's a really small field and it was pretty full, the area that they set aside. And to go that distance for just to have that amount of sellers there, it just didn't bode well, kind of thing. So I'll only go to it when it's on the big field. Barry, hello from wet and windy North Wales. Hello to you. It's not so great. It's actually brightened up here a bit. It's stopped raining, I think. I'm just about to do my postal run shortly, actually. Give it another maybe half hour. I do my postage on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday mornings. Jewelry auction used to be really good. Yeah, it's okay for jewelry. And I have bought a few bits and pieces there, and I have done quite well on some items. I remember buying a pair of binoculars for, I think, about 25 quid from there that I had no idea. I was absolutely knocked on my arse. It was about 250 quid binoculars, and they didn't look like much either. But I stopped going to charity shops when I still saw the stuff I donated months before. Prices are too high and stock just sits there. I'll check out independent charity shops, but in the main, the ones are a no wasted time. Yeah, I'd say the same. I think it was Sam that made the comment before. Yeah, I'd go further afield. Oh, I just like that kind of rummaging around, but I mean, if you're happy doing what you're doing, that's tremendous. Yeah, mix it up a bit. That's what I say. Sure, used to be great for cheap lots, and they changed the way they do everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's not changed in the time I've been going. That's for sure. But there'll be a lot of people with a lot more experience with auctions than me here. Only good charity shop seems to be the independent ones now. I'd agree. I'd agree to a degree. That's hard to get out. But even the big ones. When was it? The other day I made it. No, I went out somewhere. Oh, that was it. I went into town. I was just at a loose end. I think it was last Saturday. I posted about this on Instagram. just at a loose end, a bit bored at home, done all my chores. So I went into town for a coffee and a bit of a mooch. I love people watching, sitting in the coffee shop and people watching. And I went into a couple of charity shops and picked up, I think it was a really nice Dun and Co coat and a pair of trainers. And the margin in those more than paid for the brew and all that kind of stuff. So people, even in the big charity shops, do make mistakes. But you're right, as a rule. Town centre ones, generally speaking, and I don't like to generalize. I don't like to be, what's the word? Assumptive like that. But yeah, town centre ones, not so great. No any skin in Yorkshire. The opposite, in fact. Many are so tight they only breathe in. You can say that because you're from Yorkshire. If you're from Yorkshire. I can't say that. I wouldn't dare. I love Yorkshire. My local Osprey shop is pretty good. I got lots of things for me. £20, really pleased. Do you know what, Jilly? It's funny you should say that. I have never dressed so well since I started doing the reselling thing. I mean, the amount of brands and all that kind of malarkey that I wouldn't dream of spending the money on new in my wardrobes now. It's just brilliant. It's fantastic. There's a good auction house in Leyland. Is that Warren and Wiganall? I've been there once. I've got a couple of bits, but I should really put more effort into that. But I suppose everybody gets complacent in a way. I'm very guilty of it. Is it complacency though? Because I'm prepared to go further afield for charity shops and car boots and things like that. But those are where I derive a great deal of enjoyment that from those sources, not necessarily specific sites, but that type of environment. So yeah, that's really what each to their own, I suppose. But I should put more effort into that because I'm probably leaving a lot on the table. Hi Dave, how did you get on the wrong corn last week? I ended up doing Accrington and managed to clear some stock and maybe a few quid. Nice one. Well done, Liam. Runcorn was very quiet indeed. In fact, I've just done the thumbnail for tomorrow's video, which is from Runcorn, and it's exactly 10 minutes long. Yeah, that's a bit of an indication. It's a nice, easy watch. In fact, if you want to see me literally slap myself in the face, watch tomorrow's video at 5 o'clock. But yeah, watch it till the end though. Just think of the ad revenue. Slim Pickings last Sunday. Nice to meet you. Absolutely, yeah. Nice to meet you too as well. And you're definitely not in the video tomorrow. Make a point of it. Your voice or your rather attractive visage is not in the video, so safe. Nice to meet you. It was quiet though. It was quiet. I did get some bits, very few, but there were definitely it was definitely worthwhile my going. Well, no, definitely worth my while going. But I'll say hello when I see you. Definitely, I love chatting to people at the boot sales. And in fact, when I was at the charity shops yesterday, somebody called me for a chin wag as well. I love that. That kind of the reseller community is wonderful. It's so the collaborative nature of everybody is just brilliant. Everybody helping everybody else. It's really philanthropic. So, and I've yet to meet anybody who isn't happy to talk about what they do and they're really giving with the personality and any tips or anything like that. It's brilliant. Hello, mate. I'm moving up north in the next few months. I'll have the opportunity to try reselling full time. Any tips for success or pitfalls to avoid? Rough guide on 90 total needed to fund a family. That is actually best of success to you in the first instance. It's such a broad question, though. If I was to give any advice at all, as far as how much you need to fund a family, it's entirely dependent on your own situation. It would be impossible for me to answer that. But one thing, as far as advice, number one bit of advice is concerned, is don't give up a full-time job until you've drilled down and ideally eliminated any debt, because it will be very, very difficult for you if you've got a lot of overheads going out every month. So at best, it will slow you down. At worst, it will mean that it doesn't work at all. The reason I say that is it'll stop your progression. So, for example, if you had a loan and the repayments were £200 a month, for example, that's £200 that you can't invest to develop your business. So it's going to hold you back. So the number one piece of advice is don't give up the security of a full-time job or doing what you do to achieve paying your bills at the minute until your business is to the stage where, or until you've eliminated your debt, basically. Uncle Albert, you absolute legend. Thank you very much. I am actually going out tonight for a beer and I will raise the glass to you, sir. It's always nice getting a super chat. But it's not very humbled. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Clickety click click. Why is that not working? Howdy, Dave, and all the chat. Shabster, how are you, sir? 40 people in the chat. Can you do me a quick favor? At the bottom of your screen, with your phone or your computer or whatever, there's a little thumbs up button. If you smash that for me, it would be very much appreciated. It's one way to help the spread of this channel, and I don't know, just share the love. Share the love of this wonderful reselling community. Seeing silly prices on the small indie charity shops as well. Yeah, you just got to keep looking. It's got to keep looking. Big, even the big corporate ones make cock-ups on pricing. But yeah, if you keep looking, and even if you go into one charity shop and it's all crap and it's overpriced and all the rest of it, go 2 weeks later and have a look again. If you can avoid prejudging, then you're going to win, where somebody else who does prejudge won't. Dave, are you more concerned about the safety of your stock nowadays? I had a lot of items stored at the rear of my house. Someone broke in and stole it all. Have you ever been burgled through the back door? Sorry, it's my childish mind. I read that too quickly and my childish mind just ran away with me. Really, really sorry. Obviously, I'm assuming that you've seen the video that I uploaded about the storage containers getting broken into. I'm not, if I'm honest. I've got more confidence now that they actually didn't get in and nick anything. And they put some bloody effort in as well. So, and obviously my containers are nowhere near, they're about 1.5 miles away from where I live. So they're out of sight. So I've got a little bit more confidence. It was a massive pain in the hoop, and I've had to add a bit more expense than I mentioned, because for about 2 to 3 weeks after, I was having quite bad damp problems, because when the doors had opened slightly, obviously it rained in overnight, and the water in the container basically meant for a couple of weeks while it was all drying out properly, the condensation, it didn't help that we had really bad ice and snow that was constantly thawing and all that kind of stuff. So I've bought some container dehumidifier bar things. I think they're about 30 quid a piece. Bought 2 of those. But no, not really. Because I'm thinking, worst case scenario, I am insured, but I believe pretty much across the board, insurance for my nature of business is really difficult to put a claim in. So it would be a massive pain in the backside, and it obviously would be expensive, but losing all my stock isn't going to be the end of the world. I'm not selling very, very high end stuff. It's all low value, largely used stuff. So I just put a lot of effort into buying. All it would mean is I just spend a lot of more time sourcing for a short period, which I love anyway. Forgot what I was up to there. Where are we up to? Where's your favorite place to source charity shop gear? Does it have to? Where is your favorite place to source charity shop gear? Doesn't have to be the best tools, just a place you love going to. I enjoy going to the shops where I have really good banter with the people that I see regularly, because I'm going there regularly. There's a couple of shops where I have absolute laugh because there's such characters that work in there. So they're probably my favourite bits. But I like newness. I like new shops, meeting new people. So yeah, I suppose the short answer is the shops that I go into, and I have a really good rapport with the people that work there. Luckily, we're moving from the south. We'll be buying mortgage free. Actually, you've got it made then. Absolutely made. If that's the case, you'll smash it, no doubt. Watch all of my videos to pick up the best possible tips. Another good one as well, it might even be in the chat. Follow Chris Hayden, Cookie and the Haydens. We're sort of like kind of kindred spirits as far as a outlook on just reselling generally. It's absolutely fantastic content from Chris. Really regularly uploads how-tos as well. Like he just recently did one on how to get into contact with Every and whatnot. But yeah, Cookie and the Haydens, fantastic channel to follow. So yeah, you'll smash it, no doubt. Try and keep your overheads to a minimum, and for as long as you can possibly manage it, just reinvest everything you make. Reinvest. Hey Dave, smashed your thumb. Oh, thank you very much. Ow. Glad I didn't do it. Rolling in the spring, loves Adams, Chelford. Yeah, that's great as well when it's nice weather. Adams, particularly when you can go to the one over the road. The one over the road from Adams, Chelford, if it's moved, it moved last year, didn't it, onto a different field. I don't know whether that's a permanent move or not. But the last time I went, there's another boot sale literally directly across the road. You come out of the car park onto the main road out the gate, and literally on the opposite side of the road there's another gate. There was an entrance to another boot sale. I don't know whether they're linked or not, but yeah, that was brilliant. In fact, the boot sale I went to last weekend, I went because I was giddy about the start of boot sale season. Does that make me really sad? Please, 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 somebody else in the chat tell me that they're really giddy about the start of boot sale season. And please tell me it's not just me. See you later. Work keeps wanting me to go. I know you. Got to earn the beans. Got to earn the beans, Jilly. Have a wonderful day. Adam's Shelf is my favourite. Yeah. Cracking. Hello, Rachel. How are you today? Happens to all RLC lads through the back door. Yep, we always get burgled through the back door. This isn't a rude, like anybody who's just joined this live, by the way, it's not some soft porn channel. That was a relevant comment on a double entendre from earlier, which isn't as rude as you now think. It is as rude as you now think. Depending on who is most perfect way to describe it. Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's move swiftly on from that. Hi, Kath, how's your day going? Car Boot Mania, have you ever considered going back to full-time work at any point during your reselling career, particularly during the winter? No, I haven't. I've been very fortunate. I left my full-time job on very good terms, and I still have great contacts, some good friends that still work for the firm. I was there for 15 years. It was a very unceremonious exit. I wasn't expecting a gold watch, but I didn't even get a bloody handshake when I did leave. But on 2 occasions now, once for 5 months and once for, I think, a fortnight, I've gone back on a part-time basis just to help out. Last winter, it was when I did a 5-month stretch, and that just helped pay the bills. It was just, so I went back and they invoiced me. So I invoiced them for my time rather than be re-employed by them. So that just went through my self-employed books, and that was sort of like a grand a month, which kind of bridged the gap between boot sale seasons. I didn't really want to. I convinced myself it was necessary, but in hindsight, it probably wasn't. I probably would have been okay. It would have been a little bit twitchy bum, but I probably would have been all right. But no, never consider going back. I love working for me. I love working for me. It emphasized so much how imprisoning working for somebody else is. It sounds like an awful thing to say, really like an up myself thing to say. I don't mean it like that, but it's more mentality than anything else. Case in point, in 2008, after the motorcycle accident I mentioned earlier, for I think it must have been about 3 months, I was on light duties, and my job was to sell classic motorcycle parts. I worked for a motorcycle wholesaler, so they opened up an eBay store specifically to sell a load of classic Suzuki parts specifically that they'd come by, and that was my job. And without knowing very much at all about how to trade properly on eBay, I was doing 5-6 grand a week doing this. And now that, in knowing what I know now, that had massive alarm bells on it saying you really could do to be doing this yourself. It's not difficult. You can go out and you can source, you can flip on eBay for profit. But my mentality was so much in the work for somebody else, security, monthly wage, not having to pay, not having to arrange your own accounting or all that kind of stuff. That's when I was so entrenched in that. I didn't see that opportunity. So I kind of kick myself about it now. But anyway, the short answer to your question was definitely don't regret. I definitely haven't considered going back full time, and definitely don't regret the choice I've made. Thanks for the advice. Really excited to get going. Love the channel and the lives. Yeah, but best of success to you, Ashley. I'm sure you'll absolutely smash it. Just keep plowing at it. Keep plowing at it. It's so liberating. Chelford never moves. Adams moves due to the council allocation land, something along those lines. Ah, that might be it. That might be it. Right, I get the two mixed up, because one's just Chelford boot sale and the other one's Adams Chelford, isn't it? Somebody did tell me the story behind that at one point. I think there's some kind of falling out or some kind of family shenanigans, disruption going on there. The reason that there's actually two really close together. Somebody did tell me, but I've forgotten. Good morning, old man Lee. Right, I'm getting to the bottom of the chat now. I've been on, we'll knock it on the head at an hour. We're at 52 minutes. Adams will be back in its original plot at the start of the boot sale season until its allocation is up again. Brilliant. I certainly will be visiting. Probably another 4-month wait till Burska reopens. I saw a date the other day. I posted it about it. Let me just see if I've still got it on my phone. Got a date for Burska. Got a date. Where is it? Somewhere that looks like. No, annoyingly, I've deleted it. And I'm not going to look for it now. Yeah, it's not as, I think it's a lot sooner than that, but it'll be on the airfield rather than the big field. So giddy about the start of boot sale season. I'm now 24/7 wearing adult nappies. I thought that was just me. Good to hear. Itching to give up the 9 to 5. It makes me miserable after 17 years doing the same thing. 100%, Ashley. I'm actually pretty excited for you as well. Just to be self-determining. My biggest worry when I started, when I first become a full-time reseller, aside from the worry about the ability to pay bills and stuff like that, was motivation. If I would be able to be self-motivated enough to take to be my own boss, and when I needed it, to kick myself as the boss me, to kick the employee me as up the arse to get out and do stuff. And the opposite's the case, because I love what I do and because I decide what I do. Motivation is not a problem. It really isn't. In fact, the opposite is the case. Sometimes I have to reel it in. So I'm taking time off to do normal stuff like sit in front of the telly in my boxes, having a beer, or going out and spending time with friends or whatever. That's more the case than worrying about the motivation to get out and do stuff. I'll never work for anyone else except for myself. Yep, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. I read or hear that the family at Chelford, and they are a family of ding. Oh, they had a family ding dong and fell out. So in spite, the family opened his own boot sale across the road. I'm not sure if it. I think that's what I've heard as well, Liam. I don't know. It just sounds like a bit tabloidy, doesn't it? Perhaps a bit too tabloidy to be true. And I don't think even if it was a family feud or stuff like that it would have been going on after all this time. So it's probably a bit tabloidy, but yeah, that's exactly what I've heard as well. Have you tried selling other than eBay and Amazon? Do a little bit on Marketplace. Like I say, on the odd occasion, I might put stuff into physical auction. But I would say it used to be about 75% eBay, 25% Amazon. Now it's more like 98% eBay, 2% Amazon. But that's a short-term thing. With Amazon, it's a sliding scale. It just depends on the opportunities I land on. That's truly empty. Inherited dad's farm. There you go. Family squabbles. Where's Smoky Bacon Crisp? Chris. Happy Friday, Zoe. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. There we go. I knew somebody had the answer. Kath saying Bursco starts on the 12th of March. So we're only a month away. Right, okay. I find vintage to be quite lucrative, not just for selling, but sourcing stock on occasion too. Yeah, I've been toying with the idea. In fact, I think I did have a real half-assed attempt at toying with Depop and Vinted last year. Somebody recommended Etsy to me as well for print on demand. That's supposed to be quite lucrative. But with specifically print on demand and Etsy, I think if it's too easy, everybody will do it. It'll just dilute all the profit out of doing it. But I suppose it is complacency. Depends on your point of view. But it's not that I'm happy in my lane doing what I do, because my lane, I like to think it's really, really flexible. I think what it boils down to is I'm happy generating the revenue that I do to I was going to say substantiate, to fulfill my own personal needs, whether that be social or bill wise. And as long as I'm spending as little time as possible doing that, then I'm a happy bunny. So that's probably the reason I haven't put a lot of effort into looking into Vinted and Etsy and Depop and all that kind of stuff. But it's certainly nice to know that people have had positive experience and they can attest to how well it works. Sorry, I meant St Michael's, not Berska. Berska starts 12th March. Yeah, St Michael's another good one. I do the sort of like the Holy Trinity when I head over there. So usually start off at Norcross. In fact, we've met at we've met a few times now actually over that way, haven't we? Norcross. I started not going to Greenock because by the time I get there, it's been picked to death, and it's rare that I'll just land on there. But certainly Norcross and St Michael's at Billsborough. Vinted has slowed down a lot for me since before Christmas. Still a good place to mooch around though. Coolio. I'm off to list some rare camo. Catch you later. Have a super day, sir. Sorry, this one there. Vinted is good, allowing more categories to sell. Yeah, is it Vinted or Depop that doesn't allow business sellers? 5th of March. Is that for Bershka? Yeah, 12th, I think it was. Tremendous. Always bumping into loads of people there as well. It's great having a chinwag. Print on demand, great for me 10 years ago. Now you need a decent audience, i.e. YouTube subs to sell. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as far as my YouTube channel goes, I get a bit of a kick. It's not staggering amount, to be fair. It certainly doesn't pay for the time I put into editing the videos and whatnot. I get ad revenue in that. I've never really put a lot of effort into monetizing beyond that. I do have affiliate links in my videos for Amazon affiliates, but honestly, it really isn't worth it. I mean, I just copy and paste all the text and that, but I think in the last year, I must have generated about 30 to 40 quid on Amazon associates. It's just not worth it. But print on demand is something. I think I like the idea that I can create something like a design for a garment or whatnot, and then flog it and somebody else will wear my design. So it's probably as much that as it is earning a few quid doing it. So because I just love creating stuff. But you've hit the nail on the head there, Paul. If it's easy, everybody will do it and just dilute it. Vinted is okay to get rid of your crap, sticky stock, cheap, and get move on. I sell across eBay, Depop, and Vinted. eBay still accounts for 95% of the sales. Loads of time wasters. Yeah. Marketplace is very much the same. Sorry about that. Bolton Carby in mid-February. Looking forward to that as well. I love Bolton. It's probably the most consistent boot sale that I go to. If it's open, it'll be half decent, at least. I think that in all the time, and I've been to Bolton so many times now, there's only been once I've come away with nothing at all, and that's when I got there really late on. Right, we're at the hour point now, so I'm just going to pick out some comments and then wrap it up. Complete side note, but I've started magnet fishing recently too. When the scrap helps the environment. Yeah, happy days. And that's a big thing. That I know people who do it, well, not very well, but I know people who do it and they find some real weird and wonderful stuff. But yeah, I don't like getting cold or wet. It's like I can't understand fishing either. I just don't get it. I don't think, or fishing like for fish. But yeah, I would imagine it's like that treasure hunting kind of thing. I get that. Let the comment. Not sure Vinted. There are no fees to pay on the sale. 100% of sale. Fantastic. How do they make the money? How do Vinted make the money if you keep 100% of the sale? Very interesting. I'm open. I'm asking questions here, knowing that I'm wrapping this up. So I apologise. Limelight, we're just wrapping up, but it's very good to have you anyway. Welcome. My motto is you have 10 fingers, but you can only have 20 plus pies. If you're man. Yeah, you can have 10 fingers, but you can have 20 plus pies if you manage your time efficiently. That is the comment of this live. Absolutely, definitely. Because if there's one thing that you guys will have gleaned from me in all the content that I've put out, is it's all about spending as little time possible earning at least the money you need, and ideally it providing you a decent quality of life as well. It's not about getting rich, it's about buying time. You can do a lot with time. Only get £30 a year though on Amazon Associates. Yeah, it's. I mean, it. I don't want to say it sucks, because if I put some effort into putting some weight behind it, it probably would be a lot different. And the only amusing anecdote I've got from Amazon Associates is, if I don't know, for people who don't know how Amazon Associates work, you can generate a link and advertise that link to a product, say, you know, a tape gun. And if anybody clicks your link and goes to the listing, then you get a little bit, and it's like 1%. So it might be a couple of pence a sale or whatever. You get a bit of a kickback from Amazon into your Amazon Associates account for doing that. But if somebody clicks on your link, doesn't buy that item, but then goes on further into Amazon and buys something else, you get a smaller kickback on that as well. And you get a list of everything that's been bought on your Amazon Associates. And I was really confused to see that there was Frosties on there, some chocolate, some grapes, and all this kind of stuff. And it turned out somebody had followed one of my links and then gone on to do a week's shopping at Morrison's via Amazon. So I got a kickback on their week shopping. Not very amusing, really, but right. Stop commenting, then I can bugger off. Aki on Sunday. Yep, probably going to Aki on Sunday, Cal. I'll see you there if you're there. Right, I'm going to cherry pick these comments now. Where's the best place to throw back a few pints on Friday night in Chorley? There isn't very many. I avoid the town centre because it's full of yobs, basically. Last time I went in, there was for like a Christmas drinks with a group. There was a bit of bother. There's a couple of venues that do live music. I would say if you want a proper English pub live music experience, probably the Railway. It's a mixture between cool and quaint, and there's lots of nooks for you to get away from the noise as well. So yeah, probably the Railway. And I'll be there tomorrow night actually for a flying visit because it's a school night. Won't be Accrington this weekend. Won't be at Accrington this weekend. That's where. Oh, you're off elsewhere. Whereabouts are you off to, Fletch? Dave's house, Uncle Albert. Yep, you're welcome around my house for a pint. Don't know me to that. I won't be in. I'll be doing me here somewhere. Good to see you, ugly mug, and Dave. Stay on your side of the Pennines. You're not the first person to say that this week. You're safe for weekends, Pete. You're safe for weekends. I'll probably bump into you again over there during the summer, during the week. Right. Shab saying hardly get anything at Bolton. I see your videos and think, how the hell did I miss all that? Oh, maybe you go too quick. I go really slow around boot sales. Even the first time round, I go really, really slow. Stop the live, Dave. Yeah, pull the plug. Pull the right last two comments, and that's it. And I'm not. These are the last two comments, and nobody else is getting a shout after this. I'm gonna pull the plug, finish my freezing cold brew, and maybe have a bit of lunch and get to the post office. The lass who works behind the counter in the post office really fit as well. Did I just say that out loud? Hope to bump into you about this year, Dave. Keep up the brilliant content. Thanks, Liam. Appreciate it, man. All the very best to you as well. Alan, stop pissing him out. Blue Oyster Bar was in Police Academy, not Chorley. Well, that's what you want to think, Uncle Albert. Then that's what you want to think. Railway, making a note. Also, the Blue Oyster Bar as well. Brilliant. You already know my hangouts. Right, lovely people. Thank you very much. If I could trouble you again, take that thumbs up before you leave. Thank you very much for joining me on this live. It's always a pleasure to do, even though the last minute and nobody's expecting them. Have a fantastic week. I hope you smash it at the weekend. If you aren't already aware, there's a really good Facebook group called UK Car Boots. It's Car Boot Sell Finder UK. Join that. It's really helpful. I've found some boot sales relatively local to me that I didn't even know existed. It's a really good source. It's not resellers. It's all just people who like boot sales. Really good source of finding boot sales. So even if you say going away for a weekend or whatever, you can start a post on there saying any boot sales in Skegness, whatever, and you'll get a really, really quick answer. So yeah, join that. Really good resource. So get out there this weekend and smash it. Thanks very much indeed for joining. I love you loads, and I will see you very soon. Oh, before I go, 5 p.m. tomorrow, I've got a video coming out as usual. Adios, amigos. Love you lots.